What's up, guys?
Hey,
this is Beneath the Surface. I'm Nick the Red. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Tyler P. And today, we have a guest with us, Jeff.
Hey, what's up?
He's one of our local Warhammer players.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured we're going to bring him in because we're going to do an episode about Warhammer. We did an episode about Magic. We did an episode about not Magic, not Star Wars, and now we're doing an episode about Warhammer. So I'm sure that these two chuckleheads on the end are going to be happy, or at least have a lot to talk about.
A lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot more than I will.
No,
But yeah, no, I do play. I still play. I just haven't played in a while.
Yeah.
I think, do we have any announcements that we need to make this week?
The only big one that I can think of is that this Saturday is our Lorcana Set Championship for Arcasia's Island. I always want to say Arcasia's Isle because that feels like that fits, but it's Arcasia's Island. That will be Saturday at, I say it's 1:30, 12:30. Let me double check myself before I commit.
Well, yeah, the Lorcana people usually get here at like noon. Like,
yeah, they get here early always.
I think we start them at like 1.
Yeah, but double check myself in real time. 1:30.
1:30.
It is 1:30.
Oh, there you go.
Normal Lorcana start time. But we're hoping that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, so Warhammer. We had our tournament yesterday.
Yeah.
Supposed to be 14, had some last minute drops, dwindled down to 10? All things said and done.
I think it was 12, and then we had one drop, and then we had a sub for like buy rounds. So
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, we had 6 tables set up.
Yeah, I mean, and it was rolling.
Yeah.
It was still a lot of fun, you know. Of course, it's more. I always have more fun as the TO when we have a bunch of people.
Hey, we got a
notification.
We did get a notification, and of course, I can't see the notification still for some reason.
That's fine. It'll be okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
It'll
recent events. There we go. Now I can see it.
Oh, new follower.
Spencer Braden has subscribed. Thanks, Spencer,
Whoa!
for your subscription.
Yo.
I wonder who that is.
Oh, who could it possibly be?
A loyal subscriber.
A loyal subscriber.
And we have a Miller Dex following.
Heck yeah.
That was a day ago, apparently.
When we weren't even live.
Shout out to Miller.
Yeah, shout him out. Day late. $1 short. But yeah, so how would you as a player describe your experience at the tournament?
It was a really good time. I came in second after everything was said and done. I went 2-0-1. One of my games was a 50-50 tie, which I've never seen happen in a 40K game.
I mean, you saw as soon as that got reported, I jumped up and I'm like, what happened at this table? What went wrong?
I remember that. I was actually standing there where you were like, hold on, I gotta figure this out.
Like, 1 second.
I realistically should have lost that game because he scored 50 points. I only scored 40, but because we're doing paint scoring here, I got an extra 10 points, so it bumped it up to a 50-50 split. So I got away with murder there. That was pretty cool. He played Black Templars and was very good. He was making all the feel no pain, so I just couldn't kill him fast enough. And
that's one thing that, like, I always said about my arm, because I'm the Knights player, right?
Yep.
And with the Noble Lance detachment rule, you get the feel no pains, which is really good.
Yeah.
I've always felt like they never seem to hit when they need to hit, right? It's all about that luck, because mine's are like saves on 6s.
Yep.
Until I become, you
do your
noble,
quest
the quest, right?
Yeah.
And then are honored. I become honored, and then once I become honored, it's a 5-up, so it makes it a little bit easier to do. But like, a lot of times it just comes down to that 1 or 2 wounds. So yeah, if he's hitting those feel no pains, like, I feel you. Like, that's.
Yep. The thing about Templars is they have like a stratagem where they can make it a 5-up, versus normally it's an army-wide 6-up feel no pain, and whenever he really needs it, he can pop that 5-up feel no pain, and it was super clutch for him. He played really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still crazy to me because I feel like this is one of the first tournaments we've had in a while where we actually had like several Space Marines players. Normally, like our tournaments are just like full Xenos.
Yeah, it's Xenos and Chaos usually.
Yeah, with like a guard player.
Yeah. I wonder who that is.
Could never guess. The one who wasn't here this time.
No. Yeah, he was gone. That's why I made it to top 3. But yeah, no, and then because there was him playing Black Templars. What other Space Marines did we have?
We had a Space Wolves player.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
And then, well, not a Space Marine. We still had a lesser seen faction for our local area had an AdMech player.
Yep. No, I played him in round 2 actually. We played last week just at a casual game, so I kind of got a little bit of a guideline on how to pilot against his army because
you had a little bit of practice.
I have to play super sweaty against that list because he has a lot of really fast units that can snipe up my elites because they have anti-infantry 3 up with +2 to advance and charge. So I have to measure that threat range out, and his shooting was insane. So I had to just basically hide behind walls for 2 turns and then send in everybody.
Yeah.
What was he running?
He was running AdMech.
Well, I know the faction. I'm saying what was his unit complement?
So he had like 2 units of 6 Cataphren Breachers, which is like
the Breachers are like one of the best units in that army.
They pretty much solo carry the faction. They're
100%.
But they're super expensive, and in today's meta, there's a lot of damage 3 armies out there. So if you can hit them with damage 3, that's 360 points down the drain if you kill 1 unit.
Yeah.
Plus the leader, so that's even more.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
was he actually using Belisarius?
He did have Belisarius Call. Yeah, he did.
Wow, because I know for a while there, like he was like super busted, and then they like changed how stealth worked, and then he just fell off the map.
Yeah, he's came back into the meta a little bit because they I think it was 2 or 3 patches ago they did an FAQ to Primarchs and also Belisarius Call because he's not a Primarch, but he has Primarch rules basically. So even though they're not infantry or beasts, they can move through walls now, which moving through walls with Call is pretty nice. You don't have to spend a turn running around a corner, which lets him actually stand around projecting his auras to reroll 1s.
Right.
Which
he can just hide in the ruins or something and give out his rerolls.
His melee is actually pretty good too, but not this game because his dice were just not helping him at all. He was rolling nothing but 2s. So when my Vindicator popped out of strat reserves, I ended up just lighting him up with shooting. I picked up 1 whole squad of Breachers and also one of his battle tanks in 1 turn. Because he really only had, he had his Rust Stalkers, which were those super fast infantry I mentioned.
Yeah.
But his main pillars was those 2 battle tanks and 2 bricks of Breachers. But turn 2, he lost one of those key pillars, so his damage kind of fell off a cliff, and I just got to flood the board.
Yeah.
And kind of run away with it.
I mean, that's kind of what you have to do when you're dealing with a shooting army like that, is you figure out what is putting out the most wounds. And then you're just like, okay, I need to focus this down.
Just focus fire it till it's gone.
Yeah.
You can't whittle away at it. You can't drip feed them. You have to just spend 1-2 turns just hiding behind a wall, and then you all in with your entire army, not like a quarter
just move
or half
everything out and kill it.
You make sure you set something up so that you can make sure your charges get through, or if you have a strat you can pop to do an advanced charge. You got to do something, because like for me as a Necrons player, and because I'm playing the not really good but fun, the Star Shatter Armament.
Oh, yeah.
My big thing is, obviously while I'm running the Silent King, and that is like a big presence on the board because it looks scary, my biggest thing that I'm trying to protect are the Doomsday Ark.
100%.
Because, I'm sniping cross-map with that. It pretty much one-shots anything it's hitting, as long as it's not another huge vehicle. Even then, the rolls are right. I'm taking something out. But, playing defense on those. But luckily they can sit so far back. But still.
Because it's like, what, range 48 on those things?
I want to say it might be closer to 72.
Oh, yeah.
They have big guns.
Yep. So you can pretty much just peek out just a little piece of the model and shoot out of that. Eliminate a lot of the sniping.
Because of that super fun rule. You can just have a tiny bit of the model peeking out. It's like, yeah, I can see. It'll shoot.
I am going to shoot you with my exhaust pipe. What do
you
mean?
Exactly.
And then any kind of return fire is like, oh, you can't see the entirety of my base? Oh, well, I get cover then because there's this in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's so much harder to draw a line of sight to that model because you're only peeking out that little bit of it,
Yeah, no. Just looked it up. Doomsday Cannon is a 72-inch range. D6 plus 1 attacks, 3 up ballistic, strength 18, minus 4 AP, 4 damage with blast and heavy.
Yep.
That is so gross.
So,
it's a really strong unit.
Yeah, you have 3 of those.
I mean, that gun is very, very strong. Like, what is its toughness? What is its wounds?
It is T9 with 14 wounds.
So
it's only T9?
T9.
Huh. That's a little. I wish it was T10. But
T10 would feel better, but I'm sure at some point
your damage is already so good.
Yeah.
Plus,
you're outpacing my friggin' Galleon.
Yeah.
Plus,
As
you
far
are,
as that gun goes.
and there's also the Necron reanimation. So if you don't pick
Exactly.
it up, I'm healing it
It's just
back
gonna
up, and I'm just
reanimate.
gonna keep shooting you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty good unit.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's oh, and of course with its ability, if it remains stationary to proc that heavy, you're also getting dev wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so.
So,
gross.
you know, Necrons just do fun things like that.
Yeah, that definitely does.
And because of my detachment, they gain assault.
Yep. So you can really position them exactly how you want.
But no, but I mean that's just the fun things with Warhammer right now. I know I was having a discussion. I forget with who. It might have been you when we were setting up the tournament Saturday night.
Yeah, probably.
About how Warhammer is in like this really weird spot right now with 10th edition because they're doing such consistent like FAQs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard comparison to like how Magic feels when you
Yeah.
play competitively, where it's a lot less like, oh, I'm building this fun list that may actually happen to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more because of how data is gathered and how things change. You see people that are just building a meta list for the sake of playing the meta list, which is not how Warhammer competitive normally feels. Which you still see some differences, like with this most recent. What was it? It was Adepticon, I think, was the last big event.
I want to say it was Adepticon, yeah.
Because it was. We haven't had Vegas yet.
No, LVO already happened.
Did LVO? Oh, no, LVO happens in what, February, March?
Yeah, I think LVO was before Adepticon.
Yeah, but at the most recent, we obviously saw that new Ultramarines list.
Ultramarines have been around for a couple patches now. They are they still have plot armor, so they haven't been nerfed yet.
Yeah.
But
And then what was it? The Orc list.
Mordaka, which was within a month smited off of the face of the earth.
Yeah,
like 4 or 5 different nerfs to that detachment.
You know you have a problem when
I
GW internal is saying, "Hey, don't put Mordaka on the live stream."
Oh, were
We
they
don't.
really?
Yes, they were actually internally apparently having discussions about that. They didn't want Mordaka getting streamed.
How does that make it out past playtesting? Oh, they don't playtest.
Hey man, they're a models company, not a rules company.
They're a small indie company.
Small indie developer. No, but I mean, they nerfed it off. They obliterated that at least pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I guess they just weren't able to roll out an FAQ in time for Adepticon.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was gonna say I was sitting here pre-stream trying to pull up the new rules adjustments that they made, but it looks like the newest one they have listed on here is from January 15th.
Yeah, that was when they released Mordaka.
Mhm.
Or I think it was. Is that where the Chaos
Let's see,
Demons?
balanced data slates, Codex, the Astra Militarum, erratas, and FAQs.
I want to say it was like late.
yeah, drop mist
Drop
detachments.
missed attachments.
Yeah, because Mordaka was added in those.
No, Mordaka was actually in a different patch.
Was it in a different patch?
Yeah, there was a different patch that added like 4 new detachments. I want to say that was in like mid-February. That was where you got Mordaka, you got your Tau experimental cadre.
Yep.
You got the Lions of the Emperor Custodes list, which actually placed first on yesterday. With
Lions is definitely the best Custodes detachment now.
it's really good. It's got a lot of finesse, which is usually kind of rare for Custodes. They usually just plop down a brick of Wardens and pop a 4-up Feel No Pain on top of that 4-up Invul save and just try and stat check you. With Lions, you're like splitting up the Terminators, and they each of those Terminators can once per game go back up into Deep Strike. So you have a bunch of individual models you're just plopping down around on the board. You have a lot more utility than Custodes normally has.
You're getting that uppy downies gameplay that you see a lot with like Grey Knights and
Demons.
Yeah, Demons.
Grey Knights are just they're
Grey Knights are definitely the worst when it comes to the uppy downies.
It's both Grey Knights and Demons, and then they also made that Shadow Legion detachment.
Yeah, well, and the Necrons with Hypercrit.
Yeah,
who play uppy downies.
Yep, Necrons do it like crazy.
Which I think it's interesting now with a lot of new Necron lists. You're finally starting to see like a decline in people playing Monolith.
Yeah,
because they finally just like point valued it out of being reasonable.
Mm-hmm. It's just too expensive.
Yeah.
What do we got
here? We got the guy from Spy Kids 3 has now followed. Thanks
Dude,
for that follow
it's
there,
the
bud.
guy?
Oh, it's the guy?
The guy.
That was Elijah Wood.
A level 100 player. No way. It was him.
Dude, that is such a fever dream series.
Dude, I love Spy Kids.
So the guy from Spy Kids 3D says Chaos Knights win ?
When you buy more War Dogs,
Yeah.
buy War Dogs.
That's pretty much it. Like War Dog spam is pretty much the way Chaos Knights are playing right now.
Wait, was it win as in WHEN or WIN?
Less
You didn't
DACA.
specify.
Less DACA, so true.
Hey, Spagoot just followed. So hey, thanks for that
Spagoot.
follow, Spagoot.
It's crazy. We start talking about Warhammer and then everyone comes.
I know everybody just comes and shows up. Welcome, guys. This is
Guess we're a
Beneath the
Warhammer
Surface.
podcast now.
We're just Warhammer podcast.
See, all the Magic players left and came to join the superior game, the Thinking Man's game.
A Thinking Man's game.
Somehow we're cheaper because you just keep banning cards over there, don't you?
They unbanned recently. They've been unbanning.
I was gonna say they
Commander
just unbanned Braids. That's insane.
More importantly, they unbanned Coalition Victory in a.
No,
they
really?
unbanned.
Coalition
Didn't they
Victory's
unban
legal.
like Gifts Ungiven recently?
It was Gifts Ungiven, Sway of the Stars, Coalition Victory.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Why would they unban Coalition Victory? That's the lamest way to play.
Well, here's the other thing. My big thing with
It's just-
Coalition Victory is we are in a world where Leyline of the Guild Pact exists. So turn 0, you play Leyline. I play a single basic land and 1 creature, and now my Coalition Victory is online.
Is it?
Yes,
I thought you had to
because
have all of the lands.
Leyline of the
You have
Guild
to
Pact
have
says your
all
lands are
land
all
types.
types. Your lands are all types, and your creatures are all colors.
I'd have to read on that rule again though, because I think it doesn't it say the wording on that one specifically is you must control a land of each basic type.
Of each, as far as I understand it, Leyline of Guild Pact says that your lands gain all basic types.
Jamie, can we pull up the card?
Jamie, pull the card up.
Jamie. Oh wait, I'm Jamie.
Yeah, you have to be Jamie.
Yeah, great.
Sorry,
All
we
right.
don't have the budget for Joe Rogan.
No kidding. Shoot, we barely
Episode
have the budget to
100.
keep me.
Dude, episode 100, we fly him out, we get him on that neuro gum.
Coalition Victory says you win the game if you control a land of each basic type and a creature of each color.
And then what's Leyland do again?
Leyline of the Guild Pact.
Makes all your lands count as all types.
That sounds like a wholesome combination I would enjoy playing
you know.
against, yeah.
Pull up exact text on Leyline.
I'm literally pulling up the Gatherer on it.
Okay.
Dude,
To see if there's already a ruling been posted.
There probably has.
I would imagine that's not a combo they would intend.
Wizards not intending combos with cards that are like 30 years old at this point.
Oh no.
I mean,
They
that
pretty much
happens.
said that if a land has multiple types, if it has all 5 types, it can count for the victory conditions.
So you play a land and a creature, and now you're online.
How many land? The only thing is the mana cost.
The mana cost is rough, but you have access to green, so ramping is very
How did
real.
we get on Magic? This is supposed to be a Warhammer podcast.
He made one. He made one bit.
I made
one bit. How dare you?
I talked about how expensive Magic is now, and it's relatively the same cost as Warhammer. So
I mean, Warhammer is.
and Warhammer's a lot
I mean,
cooler.
I was
No
gonna
offense.
say
Warhammer is a lot cooler.
I've definitely seen modern deck lists that are ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean, let's talk about some legacy deck lists really
love me
quick.
some.
Being
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway,
yeah.
back to the
Where are my
thing at
popper
hand. Little
enjoyers?
plastic models. So Spagoot has asked what the opinion on the Grotmus Warrior detachment.
Which warrior are we talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know a warrior faction. Which Grotmus detachments were there? There was one for every army got one.
Yeah.
So
Did they do that for AOS as well, or was it just 40k that
I
got
think-
Grotmus?
I think Grotmus was just 40k, which honestly it was such a breath of fresh air. The game was super stale at that time.
Yeah.
I'd agree because
Although
like
it did give us Bridgehead. Oh my god, Bridgehead was crazy. It's
I
dead
definitely
now,
like having other options to run with like different armies and whatnot. Let's
Yeah.
see, we got
You should have a detachment for like all the different archetypes. of
the
your army.
12 Days of Grotmus gave us Death Guard, Flyblown Host, Lion's Blade Task Force, Warrior Bioform.
Oh, you're talking the
Onslaught.
Tyranids. You're talking
Oh,
the
the
Tyranids.
Tyranids. Okay.
I
So
barely
what do you
I've
feel
heard
about
one.
that?
So from what I've heard, first of all, I've never seen anyone playing
Yeah.
it. Probably because nobody owns that many Tyranid warriors.
I was gonna say yeah, because it is
But-
just warrior spam.
Yeah.
That's
don't
what
they
it looks like.
Don't they have like a aura or something? What else does it do? Is there like a strat? Let me see the strats on it.
Let's see. Looking at
So
it, the
you got-
enhancements, you got the Synaptic Tyrant, Allows a Neurotine to lead the warrior units. Ocular adaptation for 20 points. Grants the model in the attached unit +1 to hit. Sensory assimilation for 20 points only on the winged Tyrannid Prime. Grants models in the attached unit -1 to be hit, so basically the old stealth. And elevated might can go on any Tyrannid character, gives the bearer a unit advance and charge.
Those are nice, but those are so expensive. 30 points to advance and charge? I'll just pop a strat at that point.
Yeah.
Speaking of, what are their stratagems?
Let's see. Stratagems for that one. We have Synaptic Amplification. Strategic ploy, 1 command point. Used in your shooting phase or the fight phase on a Tyrannid unit. If you pick a warrior's unit, you can also pick a bonus Endless Multitude unit within 6 inches of him that isn't battle shocked. Until the end of the phase, models in these selected units reroll wound rolls of 1, and your Tyrannid Warrior's unit also rerolls hit rolls of 1.
Oh my god.
Despite being worded very oddly, this has a nifty 2-unit bonus, helping you get more out of your high volume of attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
And we have Spontaneous Hypercorrosion. War Gear, 1 CP, used in your shooting phase or fight phase on a Tyrannid unit. Until the end of the phase, models in that unit get +2 to strength of their ranged weapons, and Tyrannid Warriors and Winged Prime get +1 strength to their melee weapons. It says the opinion on this one is, ironically, this may be better served on a non-warrior unit, zoanthropes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you would just use that on like a Tyrannofex or a Exocrine and just buff them instead.
Exocrine would be great on,
Let's see.
I mean, Exocrines are already high strength,
there
but now
are
you're winning anything.
4 more. We have Restorative Impulse. Using your command phase for 1 CP on a warrior unit with below starting strength, return 1 destroyed non-character model to that unit.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's only on warriors, though?
Yeah, it does say only on warriors.
Nah, you regenerate a warrior. That's cute. It's something.
I mean, it's something.
Yeah.
It for 1 CP, and you can do it each round.
But I mean, it's the same thing as paying a CP, though, and basically going, hey, let me get back a, intercessor.
Well,
that's what it's saying. It said
I don't
1
know
CP for a 3 wound model isn't a terrible deal, especially if you need to pinch objectives.
Yeah, they are 3 wounds instead of 2, so they're a little bit
get that extra OC on a point or something like that. It gives you a little bit more range because you could pick up, like, they shoot you, you pick up the model furthest away. You respawn them in the front now. Now you got free movement. Like it's something.
There are little bits that you can do with it.
Let's see. They get a sticky objective, strategic ploy.
Okay, 1 CP.
For 1 CP just to make it a sticky.
That's nice.
Let's see. Yeah. Parasitic payload used during your shooting phase on warrior's unit with a ranged bioweapons. Until the end of the phase, they gain ignores cover on their ranged weapons.
That's not bad.
And after you finish shooting, pick an enemy unit hit by any of those attacks until the end of turn. Models in that unit cannot have the benefit of cover. So basically,
I don't mind that.
Removes cover completely from one unit. And then Synaptic Shield, used during your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit selects targets. So this is before they attack, when they select targets. Pick a warrior unit in your army that was selected as an attack, and up to 1 Endless Multitude unit within 6. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack comes in, if the strength of that attack is bigger than your unit's toughness, they get -1 to their wound rolls. So it makes them tough.
Just a little bit beefier, yeah.
It sounds like you're just kind of... I feel like you would just have, 2 units of warriors and have them, stand near gaunts and buff up those gaunts, because you pick up an Endless Multitude, which would be... Neurogaunts or Termagaunts.
Yeah, which... I think, Termies are still the superior option.
Termies are which one? The shooty or the claws? I think they both have a place.
The Termagants are the claws, I think. Yeah. The Hormagaunts are the ones with the guns.
Are guns.
That's right.
I'm so bad with Tyranids.
I mean, they're all models. They all sound the same, basically.
Yeah, they're all bugs to me.
They're all just bugs.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're all Zerg.
Warriors just aren't good enough. I do kind of like that you have, a shooting unit of warriors. You pop that strips cover strat, and then you can just shoot with the rest of your army into that. So if you wanted to do a shooty list of NIDs, it wouldn't be bad. I just think it's too many steps when you could just get lethal hits army-wide from Invasion Fleet.
Yeah. I still think Invasion Fleet just... And especially if you look at a lot of tournament lists, Invasion Fleet still seems to be
lethal hits is just such a dominant strategy. Yeah. If you have a way to give your units lethal hits, it means you're going to be killing things much faster.
It takes less RNG out of the game, right. Exactly. There's less dice having to be rolled. So.
I mean, to be fair, I think these these strats are interesting.
Mhm.
They definitely make your warriors beefier, but the fact that they don't do 2 damage, they lack the 2 damage output per hit.
Yeah.
They get a lot of hits, but it's the
Yeah.
damage is so low, so
Mhm.
it depends on what they're going up against.
Yeah. Like warriors, just like you're saying, they're just not strong enough. Sadly.
Yeah.
Like I love me some Tyrion and warriors. They're like one of the coolest models. Not counting all the big massive bugs that they have, but like they just don't do enough damage.
Well, even then though, like I know that one of the big thing is with NIDs, they're bigger bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of peter off in power compared to other like bigger units. I mean, because I think it was 40k in 40 minutes. They did their little narrative thing
Mhm.
where it was supposed to be Space Marines versus NIDs.
Yeah.
And they did like it was knights versus it was an all knights list versus a full list of just hive tyrants.
Okay. Well, hive tyrants aren't really tank killers though.
No, but it kind of just showed that like this is supposed to be one of their big beefy
Mhm.
scary units.
Yeah.
And I mean they got absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
And obviously, you have things like the Hierophant and stuff like that if you want to go crazy big models.
Dude, the Hierophant at a tournament would be so awesome.
Yeah,
they would not win, but
I'm
it'd
trying
be
to
so
remember
awesome.
how many points the Hierophant even is.
Let me double check. I want to say it's like 800 something.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of points.
It's a model you pick for fun on a Saturday. It's
Yeah.
not one you take to a tournament. But let me
Did you
see.
break it?
I was messing with it, and now it's being weird.
Are we still?
We're still live.
We're still
Everything's
live.
good.
We're still live. I was
You
just
broke
trying
the
to bring
chat.
up the chats because there were some more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
One of our
810 points.
one of
for
our
that
watchers
thing.
was
810.
asking about advice for.
I'm saying 610 from one of our chat.
Well, that's probably where they are at 610. For us, it's 5:30.
No. They meant we were talking points for.
Points? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Is it 610?
Nah, bro. Tell me about how
No,
the
it's
time
810.
zone only jumps forward.
Yeah.
Jumps
All right.
forward 40 minutes.
All right. Go ass. All right. So we did have some questions though about the CSM. If we had any advice for a player playing CSM.
What detachment are they playing with CSM?
Yeah, they're saying they're having problems beating CSM.
Beating them.
Yeah, beating CSM.
Shoot them.
Kind of, but the CSM can just kind of hide behind walls. What army are you playing? First of all, because that would affect how you would want to approach the matchup.
That is true. Yeah, because if you're not playing like a good shooting heavy army or just an army that can play a lot of the uppy downies.
Yeah. Time is a
Time is
spot.
a
It's
Zinch
so
spot.
true.
So true.
A trick or a scam.
Because I don't know. Because I think about it again. I think about it from the Necron's perspective. Because Necrons struggle a lot into CSM matchups. Because anything that's getting in on melee against a Necron.
Necron's just they're all 1-win models, so they just like.
He's playing Admech.
Admech.
Okay. So the biggest thing would be just to make sure you have your firing lanes set up, and Rust Stalkers are really good as well. You just win the game of chicken.
Yeah.
Because usually Chaos Marines they're like sending out waves of infantry out of rhinos and transports, and your Cataphron Breachers are going to be your best friend. Cataphrons in Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because Cataphron Breachers, assuming you're playing Skitarii cohort, which if you're playing Admech, you probably are. As long as you have those reroll hits Overwatch, you can pick up a lot of their pieces on their turn, which will give you more breathing room.
Yeah.
Shooting is a super big thing.
As somebody who has played against a couple of armies that have really good Overwatch rules, Overwatch is such a good way to just, like you said, give yourself some breathing room. Make sure, as long as you're making sure that you're maintaining control over those shooting lanes and keeping your eyes on those objectives, like sure, they can roll up with that troop transport, drop their guys off, but at the end of the day,
if they run out of gas before you do, you're good.
If you're sitting there hiding behind walls and you're just picking them off, or it's like, oh cool, you moved, awesome, I'm gonna shoot you now.
Well, I think that's another big thing too, and this just goes for any army. I feel like when you're playing into an army like CSM or a lot of the Chaos factions, I don't know why I'm blanking on the Khorne one, all of your Khorne
World Leaders.
World Leaders, thank you. I don't know why I've been blanking on them since yesterday.
It's because they're forgettable.
With the Ingron update, yeah, it makes me sad. But
poor fellas.
right? But especially into like generic CSM or World Eaters, these are armies that want to rush you down.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you need to play a little bit of a slow game.
Yep.
You kind of want to, because like you said, you want to kind of gas them out. It's sure, maybe they'll have a lot of objective control in that first and second round.
If they walk up onto those objectives, you just shoot them to death.
You can shoot them off.
So Chaos Marine's biggest thing is they don't really score that well on points. They're there to table you, and as long as you can't score, I've got some little cultists that can score me points, I guess, but that's really it. Like, you kind of just choke out the other army as Chaos Marines, so measure out your threat ranges, make sure you stay outside of charge range, even if they roll a 6 on the advance. Pre-measuring is going to be one of your best friends, and watching those firing lanes.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
And if you have a couple scout moves, that's nice, but AdMech, it's basically just throw your breachers at them, have your Rust Stalkers apply their pressure with their +2 to advance, +2 to charge, and they can advance and charge. They can choke out a unit pretty easily as well. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You're making a face.
I am.
What's going on?
I really hope we can pull a clip off of Twitch for this.
For what? Oh, were
For
you
the
not hitting
episode?
start recording?
I kind of might have forgot to hit start recording.
Have we not
really
been
funny.
recording?
We're streaming,
We're streaming, but we're
recording.
not recording. So we're gonna have to pull the clip
we can
off.
pull the
We're gonna
Twitch.
pull the
Well, you
episode
can,
off of Twitch.
well, you can pull a VOD, can't you?
Yeah,
we'll
we'll have to pull the
fine.
VOD off.
That's
of
funny.
Twitch. It's just I'm sitting there
I
looking
knew
at it,
the
it's like,
second you made that face, I'm like, what did he
I feel
screw
like
up?
something is wrong here, and then I looked over and was like, oh, we're not recording. Awesome.
It'll be fine.
I know. We can fix it. It's a slightly inconvenient.
But awkward, yeah.
But yeah, there are several armies that want to play that way, and yeah, you just kind of have to manage.
So who actually won the tournament Sunday?
Colin.
It was Colin with his Custodes.
Custodes?
Yep, he was playing that new detachment. It wasn't the Grotmist detachment.
Yeah.
It's that Lions one that we were just talking about.
It came out in that late January, early February
Yeah,
patch.
because I looked at his list. He had, 6 one-of units of Terminators?
Or
was it?
So he had a unit of 6 Terminators as a group of 6, and then they have a stratagem where they each become a one-man unit. So they all split off and become their own man.
Which is crazy.
And Terminators have those Terminators. Yeah, it's super cool. I think it's one of the coolest attachments. You used to be able to do that in 9th edition as well.
Yeah.
But those Terminators have a ability that lets them once per game go up in Deep Strike. So now you have 6 Terminators all going up, or you only want 3, you can do 3. You can kind of just play 4D chess with Custodes, just dropping down single models. And because it's a single model, it's a lot harder to zone out those deep strikes, because that's one little base. If there's a pocket, I'm going to take it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, because it's hard to zone
and
on
I mean,
a small base.
as far as I know, because I don't know much about Custodes, as far as I have heard of them and heard about a lot of their abilities and whatnot, they're like basically one-man armies to begin with.
Oh, yeah.
In lore, they're definitely built to be that way, and in the game, it reflects it in their high point values.
It definitely does.
You know, everything for them is a 2-up.
Yep, they all have 2-up saves, and they all have 4-up invul saves, so it's really hard to pierce through that armor, and if they punch you, they are going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's actually funny, that you can literally just take 6 dudes, split them off, go, okay, he's going to go over here, he's going to go over here, he's going to go over here, I'm going to control that objective, I'm going to control that objective, and this one guy is going to take on that entire unit.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That's gross.
I'm not a fan personally. I don't like fighting Custodes for that exact reason, but they're in the game. You got to learn how to deal with it. Again,
I don't know a lot about them, but I heard that they were point for point, they were on par with like Knights.
Yeah.
The fact that like you get so much value out of the points that you're putting on the table, and that like their point costs are so much higher than your regular faction, Space Marine factions. And
a
whatnot.
2,000 point of Custodes is not a lot of models. On
Right.
It's only like maybe 7 or 8 units. It's
Which
not
is
a
crazy.
lot. Yeah.
Which also makes them very beginner friendly.
That's true. It's
you're not
cheaper to get them
spending
because you're not spending as much money.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why I went with Knights to begin with, was because the dollar per point putting on the table is so much lower in those armies, but there are some glaring weaknesses in those kinds of armies.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Knights are in a weird spot where they can never make Knights too good.
Right, because then everybody would play them.
Well, yeah. Well, and it's because Big Stompy Robot is just inherently cool to a lot of people.
Yep.
and it creates a really unfun play pattern if they just start dominating the board state, because it invalidates a lot of the core mechanics of the game, because a big towering unit is not going to rely on cover as much, because most cover doesn't obscure it properly. In 10th, they fixed it finally with that
in
ruins
10th,
work.
in 10th, everything has cover.
Yeah, everything can just stand in cover.
So now you have these huge high toughness models that are already hard to pierce through, and then they have an extra layer of defense with cover.
Yeah.
So it feels like you're not doing anything as you're trying to wound this poor thing.
Yeah.
But you're also like this big compared to the knight that's like 20 feet tall. Like it should be hard to hurt that thing.
Yeah.
But
it's
I saw you catch. I heard you catch.
He
it.
caught
I don't know
it.
what
He caught
you,
it.
I don't know what you mean.
We're what? We're about like 30, 40 minutes in. We can
About
save
40
it.
minutes
We
in.
can save our one.
Save our one.
Save our
Yeah,
one
yes.
for a little bit later.
Or 2 or 3 or 4.
But trying to think of what else did we see. There was a Tau player.
There was.
How they do.
03.
Good.
Tau doesn't handle a lot of these rushdown armies very well.
Total Tau death.
That kind of makes sense, honestly. Like not so much that it's like haha, you suck situation, but like it's just like that army always has been a major shooting army with very weak melee, and so if you're rushing them down, like that's just how you deal with armies like that.
The best performances I've seen from Tau in our area has been, we have another Tau player who wasn't at this past tournament, but he plays a bit more of like Kroot and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. No,
So he's got a lot of like
Jackson's
melee
list.
line.
Yeah, which because that's what Kroot makes up, is it's a lot more of like the melee. They can get into the fight a bit more, and they will screen for your your battle suits and stuff.
They don't really kill anything, but it's like over 100 models that have 5 up invuls and like 6 up feel no pain. So they just kind of flood the board and say, do you have more bullets than I do bodies?
Yeah.
You don't? I guess I win.
Yeah, they'll stat check you
Yeah.
in seeing if you have, and also really check on like lethals, dev wounds, because you're sitting there trying to fight through that wave, and they've got a storm surge sitting in the back that is just popping stuff. And because that'll sit there and pop all of your big heavies to the point where your battle line's going to be stuck there for the next 2-3 rounds, chewing through all these Kroot, and that means that they're just going to score primaries. Anything that's behind that Kroot line, they're scoring primaries.
And Kroot units are just so cheap that they always have somebody that can do an action. So I think Kroot's really good.
Yeah, Kroot are very strong.
I don't really know what Tau needs. They're just too honest.
They are. It's a very honest army.
For once.
Yeah. Because a Tau player really is just looking at you going, hey man, I just want to shoot.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot my guns. I really like Gundam, and I had to bring that into 40K. I'm gonna shoot at you. If you get me in melee, probably just GGs.
And if you can get past the first 2 turns without losing too much stuff to their shooting, you can kind of just run them over.
Yeah, because they're gonna gas out on that.
And 10th has a lot more terrain than 9th edition did, so that also hurt them a lot.
Wow, it's almost like standardized terrain.
It's got
fixes a lot of the problems that came with 9th.
It's got pros and cons. It definitely has pros and cons. 9th had its own fair share of problems, not just the terrain. 9th was crazy.
9th is what I played the most of. I have played a handful of games in 10th, but 9th I remember playing a lot of Combat Patrol, especially in 9th.
Combat Patrol was neat.
Yeah, because that's where it really felt like it became its own thing.
Yeah, because it wasn't really a format before that. It was just like a bundle box. This is a way to get a little bit of a discount, help you get started on an army. But now it's its own format where you can play games just with that box, and they have their own special rules. It's pretty cool.
They get special rules. You play on a reduced map size, so that you're not sitting there spending the first turn and a half just getting into range to shoot.
Right.
I love spending an hour just moving models and doing nothing else. It's so fun. What do you mean?
It's so cool.
It's epic.
Some other things to talk about.
It's rad.
What is it?
I said you love the Power Glove. It's rad.
It's so rad.
Other things to talk about, though. We have a lot of releases on the horizon. Because Death Guard's getting their book. World Eaters are getting theirs.
And then right after that, we're getting a huge refresh for Space Wolves. They just showed off some more models today. Actually, I don't know if you saw them.
I haven't even seen the ones that came out today.
Oh, yeah. They just showed off some models today, and they look fantastic. They're some of the best models I've seen in Warhammer. I'm really jealous of them.
It's crazy because I've always stood by the fact that they test a lot of things in AOS before it comes over to 40K.
Yeah.
And I remember talking about like a year or so ago, AOS models were looking so good, especially anything new they were coming out with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like they're testing like these new method for making molds and everything, because the detail they're getting just on this plastic is starting to rival the resin. You know, because that's the biggest benefit of resin is you can do intricate details while keeping costs down.
Yeah.
For the most part,
without like your issue
Yeah.
with like injection molding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're really starting to see like insane models, and because
Fulgrim, like dude, Fulgrim looks amazing.
I wish he was better on the tabletop. He's gonna get buffed. He's got to get buffed.
He's probably gonna get a points cut, and maybe you'll see him sometimes, but like his rules just aren't it.
Because what, he's like 370 points right now.
Something like that, and he's on the same size base of the Great Unclean One. So like even though he's
That's
movement,
a big model.
oh, he's huge, and it's hard to move him through terrain, even with that movement 16 advance and charge. It's tough to move him around, but he's cool. But Emperor's Children in general, I really like as a faction. I think they're cool. World Eaters are getting punted. They're getting.
I mean, I can't help but feel like they take a really popular faction or army or detachment or whatever, they reduce its power level, they nerf it down, come out with something new, it's great or it's insane or it's buffed, and then like 6 months later that's when they decide, okay, now we need to balance this in now that everybody has run off and bought this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's smart business.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those like, man, you run out and you buy all these models and they're really cool and they're really great, and then they get nerfed.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they were a little more subtle about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure the logic that they have is this isn't like a game like, say, Magic, where it takes, 5 minutes to throw a deck together in Magic.
Yeah,
if you're especially if you're copying a list.
Mm-hmm.
Warhammer, you're having to buy the models, which, if you're super lucky and, live in the UK where your Warhammer stores are actually, like, fully stocked, and you can just find whatever you want, you have to buy all those models, which is, again, we're talking thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Then you have to go home and build everything.
Which requires you gotta buy tools for.
You gotta have your tools, you gotta have your glue.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and the time to just build something is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're playing, like, a more established faction. And especially, God forbid, you want to play, like, Necrons, you want to play Eldari.
Anybody that's like a bunch of little skinny dudes, like Admech, dude, imagine.
God.
Do you want to build 100 Skitarii?
No.
Hey, I hope you have really steady hands.
Yeah,
I didn't want to build the 2 friggin' combat patrols that I bought.
Yeah.
Like, for Admech?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting an Admech?
No, I started with Admech. And then realized that I was going to be spending a lot of money, and they were not that good at the time.
I think they are the single worst $2 point value.
They are.
Yeah.
Because it's tied. It's real close between them and Gene Stealers most of the time.
Yeah.
Because it was either I needed to buy more breachers or I needed to buy the robots.
The Cataphrons.
Those are the 2 main builds. You can do like a meme build with a bunch of Castellan robots and just punch people with them.
Funny.
They're so cool. I love those guys. They're goofy. And then
Flexing doesn't have to make sense. That's so true, though.
What is it?
Flexing doesn't have to make sense.
Yes. This guy gets it.
This guy gets it.
See, you can flex your cool painted army. I can flex the fact that I have an army.
My gray tide.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see somebody at some point actually buy the paints for a grayscale and just grayscale paint their army.
That would look really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, I have the gray tide, but it's actually painted so they don't get penalized.
You make up something like, oh, my Space Marines are from, like, the planet that the villain dudes from Dune are from. I forget what they're... the Harkonnens.
No, it's
GD
just like it's the Imperial broadcast, but they're using black and white televisions.
Yeah.
Color is heretical.
Yeah.
Color television is heretical.
Now I can be whatever legion I want. No, it's totally... These are totally salamanders. You just can't tell. It's black and white TV.
Yeah.
Death Core Creek.
Yeah.
Tyranids, but they're ashy.
Yeah, ashy Tyranids.
Have we tried beating the Tyranids with just a ton of Lubriderm? Has anyone thought to try that?
Dude, can you imagine just somebody going up to your model? Oh, that's good.
Next time that there's a Nids army, I will allow someone to use some off spray on it.
Just bring in
Seals mortals.
I'm gonna use some raid real quick.
Take mortals. What was the joke that we had with Al? Like he like launched one of his units.
Yeah, he was like picking up his models to like set them down, and one fell out of his hands, and was like, "Yeah, that's D3 mortals, bro."
I was like, "Yeah, that takes mortals."
And it's dead. Or like if you knock over a terrain piece.
If the terrain piece falls apart on it, taking mortals.
Eat the models, be the devourer.
Now I'm a chaos marine.
Now I'm the chaos. But because so releases we have what it was Death Guard, World Eaters, Space Wolves,
and then after that you're gonna
end
get
of
your
year.
Thousand Suns.
Yeah, T-Suns, and then in the summer we're getting Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights because they're doing a double release for those.
I think actually no, they changed it.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's gonna be I don't remember the order between the two, but it's Chaos Knights and Black Templars.
So when are Imperial Knights getting their stuff? Because it's like
It was
the same
we were
models,
promised a
effectively.
book this year.
You are gonna get a book. You're probably just gonna be like a guard in 9th edition. Wait, no. Last codex is gonna be Drukari. They got it the worst. Poor guys.
Yeah.
Spagoot says eat their model and then call the judge.
Their
Their
list.
list isn't accurate.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Disqualified. Can I get a list check?
You said you're running 12 Hormigons. I only see 8 on the table. Burp.
Are GW paints non-toxic? Are you actively like harming yourself to eat these?
Yeah.
I mean, you're eating dried glue and
That's probably
plastic.
yeah.
I think the paint's the least of your worries.
I'm tired of microplastics. I'm going for macroplastics.
Dude, the protein in these things are crazy, bro.
Protein.
You don't understand, man. I'm carb maxing right
I'm
now.
carb maxing.
You just coat them in creatine.
Yeah. Your basic is just creatine. No, it's on a snowy battlefield.
It's on a snowy battlefield.
Your pre-workout is licking the creatine base.
That's crazy.
That's cursed. That's so cursed.
So I guess now it's just Chaos Knight, then Black Templars.
Yep. And then we'll still have
We have a couple more Space Marine releases because they showed Salamanders.
They did. I don't know if they're gonna get there's already a Salamanders detachment in the Codex, so I don't know if they're gonna get a supplement like they did back in 8th edition or what they're gonna do.
They showed Raven Guard as well though.
Yeah.
So
But again, Raven Guard have their own detachment already.
they do. But as a Raven Guard lover, I want them to get their own stuff.
I would love
They need a new model.
I cannot wait for us to eventually get a model of that Demon Corex where he's
Oh,
like
he
a
goes
crow demon.
so
Dude,
crazy.
He's my favorite loyalist Primarch, probably.
He's cool. He does edgy right.
Oh yeah. Like Conrad's like too much.
Maybe iron crosses.
What?
Guard tanks.
Guard tanks high in iron.
Oh yeah, true.
No, but because that's the fun thing about Warhammer is we all recognize Warhammer is very clearly making a joke out of how grim, dark, and edgy it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, there will be people who swear up and down that, you know, back in the old days it took itself seriously. Yeah,
No,
well,
it really
the
didn't.
art did. The art did.
the art took it very serious. I mean, the art still takes it super seriously.
It was a different level though, man.
Yeah.
90s Warhammer art hits different. I'm gonna
It
say
does.
it.
Early 2000s,
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Now it's.
Watts.
Mm,
All I gotta
Squats.
say
dude,
is squats.
they're so peak, bro.
they are.
The
I think
land
Votan are
train.
cool.
I don't know why they're astronauts and not dwarves.
I mean, they're dwarf astronauts. It's Deep
Um,
Rock Galactic.
Yeah, it's Deep Rock Galactic, bro. I don't-
That goes hard though.
Yeah, I mean, you can like it.
Okay, you know what? say it like that. Fine. Throw it at me like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're still half an army, but you know, I'm sure by 12th they'll have something.
Sure. They'll have like
Yeah.
one new model.
Just look at World Eaters.
Because World Eaters got introduced in 9th.
They did. Nice.
Yeah, beginning of 9th.
And they in 10th edition they got a second unit of cultists and they got a single new model.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is, World Eaters see a lot more play than Votan.
Yeah, and they still don't have models.
Yeah.
Well, Votan also like I don't know. They have their own unique aesthetic. Like it's so specific.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be a niche.
And they
army.
don't have anything allied to bring with them, I think
Nope.
is another struggle.
Yeah.
Because they're their own Xenos faction.
Mm-hmm.
And they also did the horrible thing where when they first came out, Votan were the most busted thing to ever exist.
Yeah.
With
What?
judgment
They
tokens.
released something new and then
It
was
it's another
busted?
level. Judgment tokens are the craziest thing ever. Because when I started playing in 9th, I bought the combat patrol for Votan, because I will never forget. I went to buy the Grey Knights one, and someone bought it like literally minutes before I got there to it.
Oh no!
And so I was like, oh, I guess Votan are cool. I'll pick them up.
Average Votan player, I guess they're cool.
I guess.
Yeah.
I wanted to play something else, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got your Necrons on the way. Like they're about ready.
They're getting worked on. Yeah. I mean, every day I get a new one, and it's like, yes, it's like my army's almost there.
How many more units you got left to get done?
I think it's at this point just the 3 Doomsday arcs, which I totally understand. Kayla, the girl who does all the painting for the shop, has expressed to me numerous times how terrible the Doomsday arcs are.
Oh yeah, they do not look like fun to work with.
No, pain to build, pain to paint. She made the horrible mistake of building it first because I just handed everything over in boxes. I was like, here's boxes. I don't have time to build or paint right now because I'm either here working or I'm in class from college.
Yep.
So I physically don't have time for this. So she built everything, and then she went, I should have sub-assembled. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, you can rip it apart. I won't be mad at you.
Oh, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
The plastic glue fuses it together. It's all one piece now.
It is solid.
It's what? One piece?
One piece?
Dude, speaking of, we got any new One Piece releases?
The shop just got a ton of new cards.
Yeah?
Yeah, we
just
picked up a huge
picked
collection.
up like a huge collection.
Yeah.
He was telling me. I was
Yeah.
like, why?
Is there not a scene for it here?
There is.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
Okay. Grumpy. I keep reading Grumpy for some guy from Spy Kids 3. I'm also glad Great Britain is fake, along with France.
Yeah.
I mean, fair. It's just a brainworm plot. You know, once you know about it, you just eat your brain.
It's a mimetic agent.
Yeah, the British are a psyop.
It's a psyop. And as far as streaming a game, I'm hoping with next tournament, we're going to stream a table.
Yeah, I was wondering, whenever you get to like a high enough level, because these pull out, right? Like on this table?
No, this table is just solid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This table right here is solid.
No, the things you're thinking of, they're gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got rid of them.
Yeah.
Never mind then. I was gonna say this room, like for having like top table be in here and be on stream, that could have been an option. But
once we get the AC fully working in here, it'll be great.
Yeah, that would be pretty.
Yeah, because behind the scenes, we have no AC in here right now. So if you ever see us start sweating,
we could totally still
It's
stream it though, and just not put an audio mic in here and have the AC running while they're in here playing.
Mhm.
That's true.
Because they don't need audio.
I mean, I feel like it helps to hear your opponent, like hearing the people talk through.
Yeah.
But
we'll cross that
we
bridge.
can figure it out.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
But I think even just streaming like a for fun table at some point would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Even if it's just because there have been a couple of times because we stream on more than just here. We've done some TikTok streams in the past just to play with it.
Yeah, we've done some lives.
Yeah, and I remember at one point I did a TikTok live of one of the tables. I think it was our semifinals table from last tournament or the tournament before.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was James versus Tyler.
Oh,
so it was just a good table to stream.
Game. Yeah, that's a good game.
They both had fully painted armies. They looked clean. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a fun one.
They're probably the 2 best players in our area.
So he said, "Suffer nerds. Every model you lose, we increase the temperature."
Oh man.
Me when it's.
Well, you better start destroying some models.
It's guard versus gene stealers.
Yeah, just everyone.
Room turns into an oven.
Nah, dude, it's Poxwalker Hordes.
Poxwalker Hordes.
Which is going to be really strong when that codex comes out. They're going to be gross.
So I'm playing 150 Poxwalkers.
Mm-hmm. And my detachment rule lets me respawn 3 more units.
You out.
Yeah.
I'm going my Nurgle aura.
Yeah, I'm just being lore accurate,
I'm not
shadow.
aroma accurate. I'm not. What is it? I'm not pheromone maxing. I'm Nurgle aura maxing.
Yes, sir.
I have the gift of Nurgle.
You're in my contagion aura.
And it's round 3. In high school, they called me Mortarion. Sir.
The Mortarion Musk is real. 120 Krieg balls. Your poor wallet.
I'm on Vibrate. I didn't even notice that.
Notice what?
No, I felt it through the table.
Yeah, that's what Vibrate's good for.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
Phrasing.
Phrasing.
Where are my Fabius freaks at?
But let me make sure. Everything's good. Perfect. Just gotta make sure no one's dying because I never get phone calls.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
mine's,
have
mine's usually the one that's going off.
Yeah.
That was a mortgage lender.
Oh,
trying
was
to get
it?
a hold of me like a few minutes ago.
It'll be all right.
I'm like, I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm
Then
good.
she called back. I'm like, I really don't need to talk to you.
I'm really good right now.
I'm talking about my toy soldier game. Thank you.
Yeah, this is way more important right now.
Yep.
But
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was a great tournament.
yeah, I feel like the tournaments just keep getting better.
Every single month it's gotten better. Like,
Part of it, I'm getting through my growing pains of running tournaments.
Mhm.
we're getting faster setup. We're
Yes.
having more tables.
Setups faster, having more tables.
Mhm.
People who are repeat showing up are just getting more into the groove of playing tournaments.
Plus the community support of just
Yes.
donating terrain for us
Oh
to
my
use
God.
has been such a blessing.
Yeah,
Yes.
we really appreciate that because
Yes,
I know we're
always.
we're getting more.
Yes, it's on the way.
It's on the way.
I got a rough ETA just the other day. It should be like 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So
That's
Oh,
not
no
too
kidding?
bad.
hopefully, yeah. So I should have like 3 or 4 new sets
Probably by the
Right
by
when the
next
tournament starts, yeah.
right in time for the doubles, which I will probably put the stuff up for the doubles tournament. Probably
Soon.
first, yeah, or early May, because it's for end of May. So
Speaking of which, did you make sure to actually put down the store showdown?
yeah,
What's it?
Okay.
yeah, of course.
I'm making sure because I know he was saying because I know Braden was like, yeah, I gotta get Tyler to get on that and make sure that we put that up. So
What for the store you mean the store showdown for
Store showdown.
Star Wars
Yeah.
or okay?
Are you guys
Yeah,
like
I got
collabing with another store or something?
No, it's their version of like of their like set
store champ,
championship.
set champ.
Oh, okay,
I know
okay.
that we put in for the kit and everything, but I'll make sure it's all listed up.
Yeah,
That's Wednesday me's problem.
that's true.
That is Wednesday me's problem.
Me when
I'm
I
here all
future
day.
me.
I agree future me all the time.
Sam.
Saturday, that's what I did.
Shoot, I agree.
This
future
whole
him.
weekend, bro. This whole weekend.
This whole weekend has been a blur, dude. Like,
Dude, I think I got because I did a tournament on Saturday as well
Yeah.
as y'all's on Sunday, so I was just running on fumes
I know
this whole weekend.
you did 6 rounds of Warhammer.
Jesus.
Yeah, I just had them. Well, it was a good test to see if I could handle the GT in the
Yeah.
first place. So it was good, but
'Cause
yeah,
know
I
you
was
have
on
a-
my grind set. I'm gonna need to take my foot off the gas a little
Right.
bit.
Then take a break.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I don't think I'm gonna play any this week.
I don't blame you.
No, that's
Yeah.
insane because you were here at like 1:00 in the morning setting up terrain. Then you
Yeah.
came back for another tournament. So you went to a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You showed up here, stayed here until like 1:30 in the morning setting
Yeah.
up terrain. Came back at probably what you got here at what 9? 9:30?
You got here
know.
before me.
Dude, I got here at like 8. I got here at like 8:30 the
Jesus.
next
Did you
morning.
pull up 8:30? I
Dude.
wook up at 8:30.
I
dude.
wanted to wake up at 8:30, but I
Dude,
thought
I
we
didn't even
needed
roll
to.
out
yeah.
of bed.
I thought it would
until
take longer
9.
to set up, but I had a really good breakfast.
No, it was crazy because I know Braden let you in,
Mm-hmm.
and because I got here, I think I got here like 9:30,
Something like that.
9:40 ish.
Yeah.
You guys were already like whatever would need last thing need to be set up. We're already. I'm like, oh cool, we're chilling
Mm-hmm.
because I was fully prepared to like show up, open like start letting people in and just set up around people
Mhm.
so that by 10:30 when it was time for dice, boom, we just jump into it. But
We had done a really big deal of the work the night before, so it was
which
mostly
helped
just
a lot.
how it did, yeah.
Because even when we didn't have all the terrain because we were waiting on
Yeah.
a little extra bit from the community,
Mm-hmm.
we were just we set up footprints and everything
Mhm.
and measured stuff out.
All we had to do was set up some blocks and
Yeah,
everything.
just go boop 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 and done.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for the doubles tournament. Doubles is always just a lot of fun.
One thing, doubles is such a cool format. Like you can make some goofy lists, and you can break the game.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna talk about anyone in particular, but I think we've got
guard CSM.
yeah, what are they like? Those guys like what 12-0 now? I think they've done
12-0.
I think they've done 3 doubles tournaments.
Yep.
And that's not counting practice games because I don't think they've ever lost a game with that combo.
No.
It's crazy.
And they have already stated they're gonna keep doing it till they lose.
Yeah, I mean I can't blame them if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you beat it. Honestly, it's so insane having Brogeltorns backing up Marines.
Yeah, and not in Chaos Termies like.
Oh yeah, the Chaos Terminators do work.
Yeah, like I don't know what you're gonna do about dealing with that, but
Mm.
another thing I'm excited for
Roll
is we're
Battle
gonna
Shock.
roll Battle Shock.
That's the solution to everything.
But we're also going to set up the. I'm going to do the mercenary system that I've heard about for doubles. So basically, people can sign up as individuals,
Oh,
and
okay.
then so you sign up as an individual, and then come tournament day, if you don't have a partner, I look at someone else that's an individual sign up, slap you all together, and go.
Mhm. So you like just queue up as Phil?
Yeah, effectively.
Okay.
Which and I need to start setting that up as well for the singles because it's just the nature of Warhammer. You have a bunch of people sign up. Like, I max out normally on players, a week after I post the BCP listing normally. And then it comes in, like, the last week, I have people just, oh, kid got sick, or, oh, I actually have to be out of town, or, oh, I'm just not feeling it, drop.
Life happens.
Yeah, people start dropping.
Yeah.
So just to have a list of people just ready for standby that I can just go, hey, I'm going to message you, or I'm going to call you and be like, hey, there's an opening on the BCP. You want it in? Jump in.
100%.
Yeah, so that we don't have a situation like...
We haven't had any, like, super bad situations so far, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully. We've never had, like, everyone couldn't show.
Yeah, we just... it's just you sitting there 9 o'clock in the morning in an empty store.
Oh, dude, I would go home. I'd be like, I got 3 hours now till I open officially. I'm going home.
Real.
Like, it's over at that point.
It's Jover.
It's Jover. I'm not running a Warhammer tournament for, like, 2 months after that.
Oh, no.
If it was just not a soul show.
Dude, imagine that fall-off. That'd be crazy.
That'd be insane. That would take, like... Oh, man, something bad would have had to have happened for just no one to show.
Something really cool we should do at, like, another singles tournament is have, like... we should look at, like, missions that are playable on multiple terrain layouts and have each certain tables have a certain layout. So, like, you're on table 1, you're going to be using layout 4. This table over here, table 3, you're going to be on layout 2.
That would be interesting.
That'd be another layer of adaptation. Like, you can have the same mission on multiple layouts, so...
I'm always looking to see, like, I try to look at other bigger events to see how they handle things.
Mhm.
That's like I recently got the idea for if we ever reach a point where we hold a GT or something like that, we obviously do not have the space for something like that.
Yeah.
In case you weren't aware, Nick, because I know you don't look at the
big
competitive
tournaments.
stuff.
Yeah.
The minimum you need for ITC to consider your event a GT is 32 players.
You need 16 tables.
16 tables.
Yeah,
for 5 rounds.
We definitely do not have 16 tables.
We start to feel a little crammed in with 7.
Yeah, I think
I was gonna say we barely have 8 tables.
8 or 9 is probably our hard limit.
No, I think it depends on how much we rearrange the store.
I can take all of those. I was gonna say we could put all those tables butted up to each other and throw stuff on it.
Yeah, but I mean, because I think if we really just like shoved everything against the walls, all of the available floor space is for tables. We could probably cram, I'd say, 12 to 14 tables in here.
And I think that's going to be the advantage of once we start actually getting the tables that are cut specifically to the right size.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if they are cheap or even if they are, like, storing them is going to be an issue, obviously.
Yes.
But, like, if we can get 3-4 more tables that are specifically cut to the right size, we can start putting them in so that they're taking up only the amount of space they need to take up.
And there's no overhang. There's no more taking the folding tables, slamming them together.
No marking stuff with tape, yeah.
Oh, my God.
That wasn't too bad.
No, it's never too bad, but it's always one of those things.
You don't know. You were sleeping, bro.
I've done it too many times, though.
Nope, not true.
Nope, not true. Never done it.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
But
the idea that I had, because I was looking at a big event that happened somewhere in the Midwest, because, of course, it always happens in the Midwest. They rented out a school gymnasium.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure in the small town like this, we could communicate and be like, hey.
There's literally a school across the street.
Across the street, there's a school with a big gymnasium.
Oh, I thought we were going to do the rec center. That works too, yeah.
We could even do the rec center. I mean, there's so many options in this town.
There's spots we could go.
You know, because there's that, or, obviously stores will reach out to, like, hotels and use their, like, their convention halls, which I don't know if there's any around here that have convention halls.
Not around
dude, we're doing that. Dude, at the Red Roof Inn, we're holding our
Let's
GT.
go.
Shout out to the Red Roof
Best
Inn.
Western.
Yup. La Quinta.
La Quinta. But, those are options
we
that
just
we
want
have.
to thank you for choosing the Marriott for your little plastic mini game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys need any drinks? Any refreshments?
You can get a little bag of peanuts like you're on an airplane.
Okay, we just think.
Like throwing peanuts at the guy's mom.
Out here throwing dice in the streets. There you go. There's an option. We can just take over the parking lot.
No, just go to the waterfront. All by the waterfront.
Pick a really windy day.
Yep.
Whoever's army blows into the water first loses.
Suddenly, knights are really meta right now. I don't know what happened.
It's the only ones that don't get blown away.
No, it's Custodes because all of their stuff is Forge World. The resin. It's heavier.
Yep.
Uh,
3D print model.
Fighting
Let's
off
go.
seagulls, rolling mortals against
That's
seagulls.
how you know if your model's 3D printed. You like put it out on a windy day.
It's just because it's hollow.
Oh, that is so messed up.
Someone asked if we have ever thought about doing TTS tournaments. So doing like online.
That'd be cool.
I'd have to look and see what the rules are because we try to do everything to follow with GW.
Right.
And
We
I don't know if
definitely.
GW lets
I think that's
us host it
the
online.
issue is that like we need to find out if that's okay according to GW. Just given that GW has a very stringent policy.
Yeah.
You're allowed to. I mean, what's his name? The Get Good guy. He's done like TTS tournaments on the regular. He does monthly ones.
That's something we could look into then because I mean
It's-
hosting that is a breeze.
Oh yeah.
Comparatively.
Well,
You get a computer, you turn on TTS, you invite people to the table.
Yep.
And that also lets you, hey, we don't have to do 3 games of Warhammer in a day.
Yeah.
It's all virtual. Hey, you got a week for round 1. You've
Yeah.
got a week for round 2. That's how he does it.
That would be a great
Yeah.
way to do it.
Mhm. And if
Which
you-
would also
there's a-
be good for like an escalation league or
That'd be
something
great.
like that.
Yeah. And that would help people get practice in with the game
Yep.
because TTS is a insanely strong tool to get better at the game.
Yeah.
Like I never would have gotten as good as I am now if I didn't spend like a couple months just spamming
Oh, yeah.
tabletop sim games.
I mean,
And it's like $10 on Steam. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And all the models are free.
yeah, because they're not real plastic models.
Mhm.
Which is ironic given the company that owns the IP that they would just be like, have these for free.
They didn't give you those TTS models.
No.
GW did
No.
not.
I know.
I would
But-
But
love.
that's an IP, so it's like
Yeah.
mm,
Well, that's why I know that because back in the day with TTS, it was pretty much 1-for-1s of a lot of the models.
Yeah.
But they've done stuff over time because
There's people who've sculpted their own. Yeah.
people sculpt their own stuff,
Just
or it'll
photo
be
scanning.
like, oh, this isn't a Primaris Intercessor, it's a what they'll say like Assault Space Marine.
Yeah, it's an assault intercessor, not a Primaris intercessor.
Or, you
right?
know, they'll say they'll you do little things to change the names around and change the sculpt and
Mhm.
you know, because at the end of the day, the rules are what you're here for.
Right.
As long as you have something that is clearly can be visualized as, hey, this is this model, this is this model.
Mhm.
got it. All Lehman
Playing
Russes
this
are now
game.
going to be Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
There was one guy I played on TTS one time, and he had like a photo scanner,
Mhm.
and he literally scanned his own like IRL army into tabletop simulator.
That's pretty sick.
It was the coolest thing.
That is
ever.
really sick.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's something we could look into eventually.
yeah.
To a 9th edition tournament? No. I
No.
refuse.
Oh man.
The amount of arguments that
It'd
would
be-
start just over placing terrain.
Warhammer players already don't know their current rules.
Yeah, hey, go buy a 9th edition codex for this one tournament.
Yeah, no.
Man, Ninth had so many weird things going on, but Ninth was really cool.
9th was fun. Like, I'm not saying 9th was a bad edition, but
You said anarchy in chat?
Yeah.
No, the
Throwback
wrong
9th edition. Anarchy.
The correct word is chaos.
chaos.
But yeah, no.
Mize, that sounds a lot like heresy.
Gives a flammo. They have a flammo.
You know, I finally signed up for Warhammer Plus.
You fool.
Well, I keep seeing good animations come out, and
They-
I'll see like a snippet of it, and I'm like,
Yes,
kinda just
because
wanna
there's
watch
totally
this.
not any other way that you could watch those
I
animations.
watch all of those animations legally and not from Reddit.
Mhm.
I am
I
a
totally did not go to Daily Motion.
well, you know what? At a certain
New gens
point,
don't know about Daily
the
Motion, bro.
new gens.
You fucking third types.
Oh, he got his. He got.
Oh,
I got it.
He got the
I
one.
got it in. Haha.
Yep.
Asshole. But yeah.
Player place terrain was so goofy.
That's so toxic.
I
That
really
is so
enjoyed it, but it
toxic.
was. Oh, it's your first time playing? Sure, let's do player place terrain. Where do you want that building to go?
I don't know, but you fool.
Yes, I'm playing full gunline Tau. Yes, I'm making the battlefield completely open. Why doesn't anyone want to play with me?
No, my favorite was the first tournament we ran here. There were certain arguments about player place terrain because we
Oh, that
didn't
was
standardize our
forever
terrain.
ago.
Oh, was our first tournament player
Our
placed?
very first terrain.
Very
was
first.
player placed.
that
and-
was at the old shop,
no,
wasn't it?
that was here.
Was that here?
That was totally here.
Was that still
'Cause
ninth
I
edition,
was the
or-
only tournament I played in.
Early 10th.
It was very early 10th.
Super early.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
they
this
did
is
have it
before we
started then.
standardized our
Yeah.
tournament terrain.
Or at the very least, we didn't have access.
Don't you
to
love
IC
just
ITC
playing an army
rules.
that runs a bunch of big based models, and then your opponent just places all the terrain into narrow, tight corridors around the objectives?
Oh man, I used to do that against my brother so much. It was so scummy.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm sure you had fun. Is that why you don't play that much anymore?
No,
Is
I
it-
just don't play anymore because I don't like the competitive scene, honestly.
That's fair. There's
I enjoyed playing the Crusade, but that kind of died in the crib, so.
Don't
Yeah.
remind me.
We
I
don't
still
talk-
have stress dreams about running that thing.
there was too much bookkeeping for me.
It was a lot of bookkeeping.
That's what I don't like about
I
Crusade.
mean-
I love narrative.
That's
idea-
my thing, is narrative play is a lot of fun. And I liked the idea of upgrading models over time, making them better.
Yep.
That was fun.
That's why I like escalation leagues as well, because you slowly build up to a 2,000 to 3,000 point army,
Yeah.
and that also helps newer players have time to build their models.
Yes.
If you're just getting in.
Which is I've been really toying with. I was telling you I'm toying with the idea right
Yeah.
now of running an escalation league
Mm-hmm.
for the store and running it over probably a couple of months
Yeah,
to get
that'd-
people time.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah, but it definitely needs to have a hard cap on how many people are going to be in it, because I think that was the biggest
I was
problem
thinking,
with
like,
the Crusade.
12 players probably.
Yeah, 8 to 12 probably.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Another thing, when the next mission pack comes out within a couple months, there's going to be they're not just going to have the competitive layouts and competitive missions. They're going to have some narrative terrain layouts that are your deployment zones won't be equal. It'll be mirrored. They won't be mirrored.
Yeah.
So you'll have that'll be really interesting to see.
To explain Escalation League really quick, because someone asked.
Oh, okay.
So in Escalation League, you normally start out at around 500 points. So combat patrol sized, basically. And you will play X amount of games, or it'll be X amount of time playing like that. And eventually everyone will reach a point where it's like, hey, okay, we're going up to 1,000 points. So it's an escalating army size.
Mm-hmm.
And it's normally something, the way that most people host them is you pay in at the start, you play for like a short of time frame is like a month, to a longer time frame is like 3 to 4 months.
Yep.
And you're slowly building to around a 2,000 point army is the normal stopping point. Some people will push all the way to 3,000 points though.
Yep.
But it's a great way to get new players in because you're starting with that initial investment, and then you do have that time, like Jeff said, about you're slowly building up, and it's not, hey bud, you heard about Warhammer. Well, if you want to play in any kind of event that isn't just casual with your friends,
Drop 2 bands.
yeah, drop 2 bands right now.
Mm-hmm.
Build it all, paint it all. Hope you like the army. Start playing.
Go in credit card debt and take a week or 2 off of work. Do it now.
You said only a week or 2. I think if you're depending on how
Well, if you
serious you
take-
are with the painting.
Well, you don't have to paint to play.
No,
I'm just
but
talking like if you want to get 2,000 points built in a week, you could do that.
yeah, it would
you would
suck,
just-
but you could do it.
Oh yeah, you'd be having a full-time job for a week, of just
Yeah,
building
like
Warhammer models.
Building models. That's so much lore you could listen to, though.
and so much paint. I mean, so much glue you can huff.
I mean,
So true, actually.
Pay me
I
a
was
rubber
gonna say,
cement,
I
my beloved.
I built my boxes of armatures like 2 at a time
Yeah.
fairly quickly.
God,
Yeah.
building an armature. I built 2 armatures ever. That was a process.
Yeah.
Building
It can be.
building vehicles is a pain because it's like, why am I building all these internals?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need all these internals? I'm sealing this thing shut.
I will
Okay.
say when I tried building the inquisitorial agents, I stopped because
The models were
They're
too
not fun.
talented.
it's
They're
just the
tiny.
model. No, it's just it was tedious.
Yeah.
It was just so tedious to put them together. I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Warhammer, outside of playing Warhammer, is super tedious. But
Yeah.
if you get through that tediousness, the cool stuff of actually playing hits that much better.
Best piece of advice: go on to Camden County resale.
Are
That
people
does help,
selling
yeah.
armies on resale?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
I've seen a couple of armies come across there. There was
Mm-hmm.
one that somebody was selling for like $400, and it was like a half of a freaking orc army or something.
Oh, yeah.
People will sell bits of armies all the time.
Yeah.
They'll either sell their full army or like a chunk of it.
The two
And there was
best.
a couple of knights I've seen on there that
Mhm.
somebody was selling definitely higher price than the box, but it was already put together and painted. So
Yeah. But yeah, no, like the two best places I've found is eBay, obviously. eBay,
Yeah.
you can get some steals, and sometimes they're already painted and they
Yeah.
match your color scheme, so go for it. That's
Yeah.
that's what I've done with some of my models. And also the Reddit r/mini swap.
I've been meaning to
The
try
mini swap subreddit is fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking for budget ways to get in, because even though obviously as a shop we do sell Warhammer, we recognize as a hobby it is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, at least how I feel about it is, I would rather you buy a model from elsewhere that better fits your price range, so that then you come in, you still paying to play in the tournament,
Right?
You're still showing up to
You're
hang
still
out and be a part of this
participating,
community.
You enjoy the community, you enjoy the store.
No, let's make a homebrew rule for Battle Ready. You have to have a deep dive games receipt for every unit.
For every model in your army, the deep dive receipt.
That'd be so evil.
We start etching the deep dive logo into the base of every model.
You have to take a branding iron to your mini.
Don't hold it for too long, you'll melt the mini.
Mm-hmm. Just enough.
Just enough, but you know, that's just how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it is an expensive hobby.
Yeah.
No one is blind to that fact.
Yeah.
It is rough.
You'd have to be delusional.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to get a Warhammer army.
No, it is a pain.
And that's why usually you have to choose if you want to do like your card games, your Magics, your Yu-Gi-Ohs, your Pokemon, your One Piece, I guess.
Or you slow roll. I have slow rolled my army for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a year to get my Chaos Marine army up and running.
And that becomes really hard, especially if you're not playing with what you have at the time. Because you're sitting there like, yep, I'm just slowly buying.
Yeah.
I'll play eventually.
You'll spend like a paycheck and you have like 200 points.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well.
But it's just one of those things.
If you're getting them box by box, that still gives you time to build. And if you want to get into the painting, you have time.
Yeah. So I'll let you slow roll.
Exactly.
Do you have any remarks, Nick?
Well, not really.
No.
Not really. Like it's like I build knights, dude. I build a model in like a day and I'm good. Like and then painting. I feel like painting the bigger models kind of is easier.
Yeah.
Because I can sub-assembly and paint and then just make sure I leave enough space to put glue on. Or sometimes I just end up scraping the glue off or getting some acetone and wiping the glue off and then just gluing the shit together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's never really been an issue putting them together. I mean, you've seen some of the paint jobs that I've done on my knights.
Oh, yeah,
They're not bad.
You've done a good job with all your stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's at the point now for me that's like, do I want to invest more time, more money, more effort on a day that I usually don't have a lot of free time? Because right now, with Sundays being our Warhammer day, I really just don't have the kind of free time. But what other day are you going to run it on? So that's kind of that's the dilemma. That's the prisoner dilemma on that one.
You know, I'd love to eventually have it where on a regular Sunday I have more people in playing Warhammer. But I understand that Warhammer is a game that we just have played throughout the week.
Yeah.
It's not the sort of game that you can just go, hey, dedicated day, everyone show up.
Right.
Well, there's just only so many tables.
Yeah.
There's only so many tables, and then just like you said, you know, it takes a minimum of like 4 hours to play a game, and that's if you're like know what you're doing, on point, on the ball.
Actually, tournament time is 3 hours.
How many people had to get told dice down? I rest my case.
There was one table specifically every time.
Did that player go 0-3 by
No,
chance?
I can't find the F that I gave.
No, I don't think they went 0-3.
Oh,
I think they went 1-2. But
they went the distance,
they
baby, and they got that dub.
They got that last round dub.
I mean,
I don't even know.
Just speaking like tournaments in general, like I think I've definitely did the whole like, oh, my score is not going to be anywhere close to being good. I'm just going to drop now and move on. Maybe get in like some side stuff going on. But I think really playing it out like that just means that, you know, you're getting the practice and maybe you can figure out what's going wrong. Maybe you can figure out like what you need to change to kind of improve where you're weak at.
Like where you can speed up.
Where you can speed up, but like where you're weak at.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing is that like in a lot of these armies, you're like, okay, I do the one thing really, really well, but this other thing I'm not good at. So how can I shore that up?
Yeah.
So you have to play to figure that kind of stuff out.
Time has always been an interesting discussion, though, in Warhammer. Because I know that we've had the discussion endlessly about chess clocks.
Yeah.
Being
Just do
implemented.
it. Stop being a coward.
Well, here's the thing. So, I had discussions with several people yesterday at the tournament The normal thing, especially if you go to a larger event, they're not providing chess clocks to every table. That's not feasible.
Right.
And as we've looked, they're not expensive, but they're not cheap to get chess clocks.
No, they're
It's
like
just a whole
17
other
to
thing.
$18 depending
Yeah,
on what
but
you
then
get.
scale that to 10 tables,
Right.
it gets a bit pricey, right?
Yep.
So the general discussion is, if you personally want a chess clock, pull one up on your phone.
Yeah.
I cannot stop you from using a chess clock, and especially, so it's like, look at your opponent. If you see that you're about to play into like a Gene Stealers, an Admech, a Astra Militarum, something that has a lot of models and a ton of shooting, and you know they're going to take a lot of time on their turns, hey, I want to use a chess clock. Set your phone up, because there's a free phone app that you can use to do a chess clock.
With a little touch.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just go like that. And even if you have to, score on your phone, because that's what most of us do here, we do all our scoring and stuff on our phone, you can swipe to the tab, the clock is still running, whoever turn it is, you can punch in the stuff really quick, swipe back, nothing has changed. And I think
that's why I like the little physical point tracker that I have.
Oh yeah.
Because then I don't have to have the app or anything. I'd be like, okay, I scored this. There's my extra points. Boom.
Exactly. But I think that's the way that we have to proceed with it, because it's not fair to some people to immediately just be like, hey, you have to use this, because there are going to be people who aren't used to it. They're going to forget to click the button, and it's going to create a whole argument.
I was gonna say,
I
was gonna say you're probably gonna get a few people spurging over it. Like, I want you to use this. I don't want to use this. Call the judge.
So that's
judge,
why
what's the situation here?
It turns into a thing of at the table. So it's like, hey, if CSM player, your games normally go pretty quick, because you get in and you just start beating stuff down. But you're playing into orcs. And, you're just going to have to chew through a bunch of orcs.
Hold on, I got another reroll.
Then already to go, and you're like, hey, chess clock. And you can make that decision as a player. You can always go, I want to play with a chess clock. And
so then how do you, as the tournament organizer, resolve an argument of, I don't want to use one, I want you to use one?
Cool. Well, we go to ITC ruling, which states that if a player wants a chess clock or feels the need to use a chess clock for their game, they are permitted to do so. And that is the standard for the
chess
game.
Clock just makes it so both players have a set amount of time that's equal.
Yes.
There's not an unfairness to that. If your army,
it's like an hour and a half per.
Hour and a half
exactly. Like if your army's designed to take more time to play than your opponent, then that's not really I shouldn't get to play the game more than you because I chose this army.
Correct.
You shouldn't have to watch me move around.
Yeah, well, and that's a struggle.
There's levels to it, and you get better with it as practice.
Yeah. Well, and I think a big thing that some people don't realize with their million unit shooty armies is you don't have to shoot every model.
Well, it's that another it's also the biggest thing is just having to have your data sheets memorized.
Yes.
If you have to double check on the unit's toughness multiple times, you need more practice with that unit, which isn't the worst thing ever. But if you're at a tournament, it's a competitive event first, and I don't want to say it's fun second, because that makes it sound like it's a bunch of sweat lords, because it's not. It's competitive, but it's not a bunch of sweat lords. It's people who know the game inside and out, and they're playing it at a high level.
I mean, but that's what is required.
Yeah.
For playing in tournaments is you need to know your stuff. If you don't, then you're wasting time. If you're wasting time, there's less time to actually play, and then you get called to time. And if you get called to time, it's literally whoever has the most points at that point. Yeah. And if your opponent is sitting there playing an army that takes an hour and a half to move everything in 3 rounds instead of being the full 5-round game, if you're a late army or a late game army. You're screwed.
Yeah, you're not getting your fair share.
There's arguments for both sides,
that's 100%. I feel like it really should just be chess clock, period.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think it should be a on request. There's a chess clock down.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Which same difference basically.
Yeah. It's the same difference, but it's it should be announced at the induction. At the tournament announcement, being hey. If you're signing up for this, understand that we will be enforcing chess clocks if your opponent requests it.
Yes, you'd have to
announce it.
Yeah, sure. You're not going to blind somebody with it. You're not going to blindside someone with a chess clock. That's totally different.
Yeah, because that becomes a huge thing.
Because, like you said, I mean, you're playing a CSM army, or you're playing a Space Marine army where you know what you're doing. Your guys move in quick. You hit hard. You just get the game over with as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
That's all fine and dandy. But then when you've got Tau versus Admech, or you've got Nids versus Orcs, where it's going to take forever. You playing against Necrons with their reanimation protocols,
and they're playing super far back. And
so it's like every time I kill half the unit, nope, here they come. They come back.
And it's coming back. Yeah, there's just things that you have to account for.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best course of action moving forward, because I think creates a happy medium.
Yeah.
Or a happier medium.
And then the space is still available during the week if you want to do a game you don't have to only play Warhammer at tournaments. You can come in the store and play.
100%.
And
we get people in here all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly. And doing those games here at the store outside of a tournament helps you memorize those data sheets, helps you play the game faster, helps you be ready, so you're not screwed because, oh man, it takes me 20 minutes to move my models. You've got the reps in, now you can move those models that much faster. I've seen it happen with people, and it's great.
I always recommend it. I will never say, oh, you can't sign up for the tournament because you're new.
No, of course not.
But I have discouraged people in the past, like, hey, I know you've only played like a couple of games of Warhammer. I don't want you to have a bad time.
Exactly.
Because you're joining this, because it's not like a Magic tournament where it's like, oh, I can join this. I know I'm going to lose, but I'm just joining it to kind of play, because in Magic, your game takes 15, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Warhammer, again, we're locking in for 3 hours around.
3 hours.
So you need to really respect yourself on that, because you're going to start to feel fatigued as a new player. You're going to get super overwhelmed. And
especially if you are not super familiar with all of the rules either. And I'm not saying you need to be super familiar with all the rules, because we know that is almost impossible. But being familiar with your rules, movement rules, shooting rules, how to do saves, and then with terrain specifically, know how ruins work.
Yes,
that's
because it is the dominant terrain piece in every match that you see in any tournament setting that uses the basic layout. Know how ruins work. That way there are no arguments with it. You're not going to have, because that happens way too often where you'll get a newer player coming in who may have only played in 9th edition. This is their first time really getting into 10th edition, so they're familiar with the game. But then they're coming in and all these new rules and all these changes and whatnot, and you've got some players, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. If you think I'm talking about you, you have a guilty conscience. We'll sit there and take advantage of a new player who is not familiar with the rules.
But it either turns into a seal clubbing, or no one has fun with the game because players are getting frustrated.
One person tells somebody, "Oh, this is how that works." They go to a tournament and then they go,
and then it's all different.
That's not how that works. But that's how I was told. Well, then you were told wrong. So be familiar on your own with the rules. That way you don't have to worry about somebody going in, "Hey, you can't move through that piece of terrain because of this reason." And in reality, you're like, "No, I totally can because it's not blocking."
And at the end of the day, in a tournament setting, if you start having disagreements like that with your opponent, call a judge. Call a judge. Call a judge.
We have been judging events here. I've been judging events here for, almost a year now? And I cannot emphasize enough, if you see anything that your opponent is doing that either you don't agree with, you are confused about, you think they're cheating you in some way, do not be afraid to call the judge. Don't. Because at the end of the day, if you're wrong and everything is kosher, hey, now you know you're learned. But if something is not kosher, well, now you've stopped it from happening and possibly even gotten that person, that element out of the tournament or out of the shop.
So it's not ruining games down the line.
Right. It's not ruining other people's games. Please, 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 if I can beg you in Mathemagic Land, if you see something wrong, tell the judge when it happens. Call them over. We are not so busy that we are not willing to walk over the table and find out what's going on.
It's not even just a deep dive issue. That's a systemic thing.
Yeah, right. Because people are afraid of confrontation.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and also people get this. There's this feeling that a lot of people have where they feel like if they're the one that calls the judge, they're being a narc. They're taking the fun out of it, and especially when you're playing especially at your locals where the people you're playing against, you're genuinely friends with. You know,
Right.
you guys hang out outside of the tournament, and now it's like, oh, well, Jeff was an asshole to me because he called me on this rule and called the judge over, and I got in trouble because apparently I played this wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but
it's
see,
like-
in that instance, now you've learned. Now
Exactly.
you know that you can't play it that way.
yeah, you
Exactly.
have
But
to leave.
and anybody who gets
No, you-
mad about
like-
it, and anybody who gets mad about it, there's the door.
If,
Bye.
If you get mad about getting a rule wrong, I've never seen that happen. It's just I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep playing, and
But
that's
it's like it's so many times that we finished the tournament. Everybody's collecting prizes, and then one person will come up, or two
Yep.
people will come up to the counter and be like, "Man, yeah, I thought it was kind of fishy. That guy was drawing too many cards, or that guy was moving his pieces too far. Like he was moving the
Yeah, he
pieces
moved
a
his
little bit
model.
extra." And it's like, why didn't you say something when it was happening? We can't retroactively go back and go be like, because we didn't see it and we're not recording
Or
it.
no, my favorite is oh, he nudged this piece of terrain, or he disagreed with what this piece of terrain was, and we
That's
just
not
left it
supposed
be
to
at
be
the
there.
time. Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. That classic. No,
Yeah.
it's like just say something in the moment, let it get dealt with, even if you don't care that much personally, because you're like, I'm winning anyways.
Right.
Like,
Doesn't
whatever,
matter.
dude. You think you
need
got
to
the-
call it.
Yeah.
it
so that it
affects
can be
future
dealt
games
with.
too.
Yes, it affects all the future games.
Also, like
and it meant me. And if you don't call it, people think they can get away with it, and they're gonna keep pushing.
Right,
the
and they'll
boundaries.
keep getting away with it, and they'll
Mhm.
keep trying to get away with it. And then what happens when, that person sitting across from them
Mhm.
is now a new player?
Yeah.
And now they have the worst experience playing against this person.
Yeah.
Because
it never got nipped.
it
on
never
the
got
butt.
nipped. It never got taken care of. So now they don't want to play anymore. They don't want to get into the hobby, and now you've lost a potential player.
Yeah.
And one other thing is, I'm sure you as a judge in the past, like, I bet you love sitting behind the counter for 3 hours not doing anything.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
yeah, it's
Just
so much fun.
The
Getting to
judge
sit there.
wants to help the
Yeah,
tables.
give me
Right.
something to do.
Exactly. It is not a bad thing to call a judge. You're not a sweat lord. You're not a jerk. You're making sure the game's getting played right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's never an issue with that
Mhm.
because especially for Warhammer, I don't want to hover over your game constantly.
Sure.
No.
You know, I will
Like,
get up and do my rounds.
I
About
was
every
gonna
30
say,
minutes
yeah,
to
we
an
get
hour.
up, we'll walk around, we'll take a look at the games, we'll take a look at the games in progress. If you
Mhm.
see us walking by and you have a question about something, grab us.
Yeah,
Please.
We'll friggin' take. I mean, maybe not me because I don't know the rules as well as these guys do. But like, grab somebody. We
Yeah.
will find an answer for you if you have a question. If you
Yeah.
don't have a question,
but
all
Okay.
guard players are bad and need a chess club.
This
that's
guy
so
speaks
real.
the truth.
So
He
much
gets it.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think that is a fun little soapbox to wrap things up
Sure.
Yeah.
on.
Well, I mean, this has been good. I've
I've
enjoyed
had
it. We
fun.
definitely had a great interaction from you guys,
Mhm.
except for the bot that just showed up.
Oh,
Screw
yeah.
you. We hate you. Go away.
Perfect timing, like right when we're ending,
Mm-hmm.
it just slips in there.
Would you guys like a view bot, please?
Please,
Please.
please.
Come
Please.
click my link.
Click my link on Streamboo.
Mm.
Don't say it out loud.
Shout out to Streamboo.
Yeah.
Screw.
Screw you.
Please sponsor me. I need a.
I need a sponsor.
I need 50,000 likes right now.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we had fun with this one, guys. We're
Yeah.
glad you enjoyed it. Please give a like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on all of our profiles. You can find the LinkedIn in the description below. Thanks for coming out, Jeff.
Yeah,
we appreciate
thanks for
it.
having
This has been
me.
fun.
No, this was
I
great.
always like having a guest on.
Yeah, every
It's
now and
even
then
better.
having a guest, so it's not just the two
Yeah.
of us. You don't have to stare at us for an hour and a half.
You mean normally they look at the side of my head because I turn to talk to you like in
Fair.
a conversation.
like a
but-
human.
Yeah, like a human.
But I'm Nick the Red.
I'm Tyler P. I don't put any fancy colors after my name.
Uh-huh.
I'm Jeff.
Jeff Fafa.
He's dying.
Thanks for watching, guys. We love you. We'll see you next week.